This podcast is brought to you by JAM, Junction Arts and Media, building community in the Upper Valley through media.
We are Screaming in the Darkness is back. This is a big show, huge show. We've been gone for months, and we get 200 to 300 emails every day asking us, when will you come back? When is the show going to come back? We're waiting. We want to know what's happening. So we're back.
Boom.
I'm here. I'm Ryan Clausen. I'm here with David Vincelette. We have special guests. Mr. Nealon is here. Robert Nealon, special consultant guest.
Bob, some call him Bob.
Some call him Bob, some call him Bobby. Adventure, superhero, lives in his van, skis off cliffs. He lives in a van with a wood-burning stove in it, 2 Bose headphones, 2 walkie-talkies, 2 of everything, an amazing sink, memory foam mattresses. It smells like rich mahogany.
Where's the mattress? I didn't see the mattress in there.
It's folded on the couch, and then it's 2 massage tables. One's tucked, one's folded, and it's like currently the armrest, and then it unfolds and becomes the...
Bob lives in a van with 2 massage tables.
He's got a hot shower in there too.
He lives in a van
hot
with
shower
a
on the back,
with
yeah.
a hot shower. At what point do you not live in a van anymore? It's really a home that happens
a
at
small
wheels.
home.
When you have a
Tiny
wood-burning stove and you have memory foam and you have massage tables and a sink and a hot shower.
And a refrigerator and a toilet.
Fridge, yeah. Got rid of the toilet.
For a while you had a toilet.
No room for the toilet.
And beautiful, a little library.
Yeah, small little bookshelf.
And then lots of tiny little jars of weed that you hide around that kind of drop in little crevices and nooks and crannies. and are never found again until you cross a border.
A lifetime of weed hidden in the van, yeah.
Let's get into that. Apparently, you can be in Maine where weed's legal, and in California, in Canada, weed is illegal. But if you go over the border, it's legal.
Yeah.
You know, it's on either side of the border crossing are weed shops. But if they're selling it, tell you right before you get there, here, please buy it. And right when you get through here, please buy it. But if you have it in your possession when you go through here, it's a huge problem.
That'll change soon. I think the federal regulations are catching up with the rest of society.
Bob, aren't you on some sort of list?
Yeah, once you have one check, you go every time. Every time you go through for the rest of your life. By now, I've checked 15, 20 times every time I go.
Every time he goes over the border, they ransack
I can't get through
his
without
van.
them finding something else now that I don't even know they're going to... I'm never trying to sneak anything. I can't get by without forgetting something in my van that they find.
It all started one fateful day years ago when Bob was just going skiing at the top of New Hampshire. And he just went by the top of Vermont, and he just went by the exit by mistake. And there wasn't another exit. There was the border with Canada. And so he had to go there and ask them to make a U-turn.
Was it Highgate, or where's that?
J Peak was the last
J
exit
Peak.
at, so I think it's J, I think is the town on the exit.
Pun intended? Were you smoking a J?
Smoking a J?
I actually was.
J-bar?
A little bit before this. This was 20 years ago almost.
20 years ago?
15 years ago.
15 years ago, and you find yourself accidentally entering Canada?
Yeah, went by. It was the last exit. We went by the exit, and there was no warning that to get off. The first time you see a sign saying the border is approaching is you can't get it. You're now in the line for the border. There's no more way of exiting. So there's really no warning, really, that the border's coming. Like before, while you still have a chance to exit.
Well,
So
you grew up in America, so you probably know Canada is north of us.
Yeah, eventually you're going to get there.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
well, I mean, the signs that say
warning.
border are pretty large, but you don't see one until after there's no more exits to get out of the...
Did you think about this going right over to medium? Just taking...
By then it was... no.
They're probably open fire.
Yeah, you can't... No. Yeah.
So that wasn't in the van then?
This was in... I was driving a Jeep Grand Cherokee at this point.
And what happened? They pulled you over and they smelled...
The guy going into the Canada side said, just go around, just go up there and turn around. Because we said, I said, we don't even have a passport. I said, we were just going to J Peak to ski. We missed the exit.
Famous last words, by the way.
He said, just go up there and turn around. And then we went up just like 100 yards up and turn around where he said turn around. And then next thing, now we're coming through American customs. And we say the same thing, we're just there. and there's a glass separating the two sides in that building. And technically, even though it's under the same, it's in the same structure, it's, it's according to international law, two different buildings. Like, they're not allowed to communicate through that glass because one side's American customs and the other side's so we said to the guy, yeah, we just went through over there, and he just said, turn around, and the guy said, I don't know what you're talking about. And we said, well, we just turned around there, and the guy said, I don't know, like, we can't talk to that guy, and I don't know what you're talking about. You have no passport? I said, no. And he said, all right, we'll pull the car over. So I pulled the car over, and as I'm getting, we're really close to the door, he said right there, put it in that parking spot and come inside. So we put it in the parking spot. As I'm getting out of the car.
You put the joint out?
No, but as I'm getting out of the car, I realized the car door already had opened in my left hand.
Yeah. And
I realized there's a jar of weed in my jacket pocket, and I'm about to walk into the customs agency with a jar of weed in my pocket. So and if I shut the door now, it would be like this obvious sign that something weird's going on. I feel like I'm being watched, which I probably am. I smoothly throw the jar of weed under the back seat of the car as I open the door, and I get out of the car and I shut the door, and I'm like, and we go in, and the guy says, all right, you guys got to fill out these papers, and we'll take the keys. And so we're sitting there. I'm with my brother-in-law at the time, and I said, and we're filling up the paper, and I'm looking down at the paper. I don't even want to look at him, and I just whisper, there's weed in the car, and he says, there is, and I said, yeah, well, I mean, I just was smoking a joint like half an hour ago. I said, you saw there was. So we think we're going to get arrested. We get not strip search, but in our mouths and everything, get in the back, search everything. And then the guy comes out and says, where's the drugs guy? First thing he says, guy comes in, where's the drugs guys? To us, it seemed like they maybe went out there or not. They kind of had already taken the keys. We don't know. It's a different guy comes, full uniform. Where are the drugs guys? I gave him the kind of, I didn't lie, but I just said, well, there might be some weed in the car. There's often weed in the car.
Yeah.
And at this point, it was legal in Vermont or decriminalized in Vermont.
Okay.
Yeah, I said, there's often weed in the car. There might be some weed in the car. And the guy said, is that all? I said, yeah, that's all. Then the nice guy with the suit and tie, the superior, he must be the head honcho comes out, and he's having more of a friendly conversation. You smoke weed off, and it's almost like an interview, like he's trying to get a read on me, which I think he was doing. And eventually he admits that there's a lot of hard drugs coming down through Jay Peak from Montreal. So he said it's been really tough for them because Vermont had, there was the wheat that all of a sudden people are traveling with cannabis. And then the guy comes back in from searching the car, and he puts the two things on the counter, and it's a little wooden box that I at one point must have had some weed in, had some residue inside there, like just residue, and then there was a pack of papers, zigzag papers. The superior looks at me and says, all right, well, you can, he said, okay. He looks at this guy that found the stuff, and he says, and he looks at me, he says, well, we got to keep the wooden box. It's contraband because the residue of the weed in there. He said, and he looks at this guy, and he goes, but you got to give him the papers back. And I take the papers, and I get back, and they go, all right, you guys are good to go. And me and my brother-in-law look at each other. No, so I get back in the car. My brother-in-law looks at me and goes, holy shit, what the just happened? And I go, yeah. And I drive away, and start the car and start driving away. And I looked over, and I said, and the craziest part? And I'm driving down the street, and I reach back like this, and I go, they didn't even find the weed. I got this big jar of weed in the back.
Huh.
But ever since, I've had a mark on my thing.
No kidding.
Yeah, one time when I was coming back internationally, I looked at the guy at U.S. Customs, and I ended up in this crazy line of checking my bags and everything, and I said to the guy, is this going to happen every time? And the guy kind of winked at me. He said, I can't tell you that, but he kind of gave me the wink. He said, but remember, every time you come into the United States, you're subject to search. I can tell you that, and kind of winked at me, and I was like, all right, I'm going to be, sure enough, every time now I go to Canada, I'm every time. How
sore is your asshole at this point?
Yeah, no, never cavity, never gone there, never have done that. So,
well, at least you know where to hide it.
It's one place they don't search.
What's actually interesting, because now that I've been searched so many times, and they continue finding.
Well, that's what's
contraband
every time.
That I'm like telling
from years ago, decade ago.
Yeah, and this last time I felt like I actually should get an award for being the most honest person, because you just continue to find, like, they continued to find stuff that's inconsequential, like empty grinders and stuff. And like, I'm like, no one else has been searched as much without finding. It's like I can't get through now without forgetting I had something, or they found a CBD salve once. That was one trip through. Guy got all mad at me. This last time they found my friend's golf bag had an old 2-year-old joint, a container that once had a joint in it, and an empty grinder.
That residue will get you every time.
Yeah. And then 100 yards across the border, there's a weed store. Yeah. I feel like saying, we're using all the resources for this. It's crazy.
We're here talking about all the real stuff at our new location. This is our first podcast in the new location.
Underground fallout shelter bunker, deep underground.
Literally, we needed a safer place. We're always from an undisclosed location because David Vincelette is
Controversial figure.
America's most wanted. People want him dead because he exposes controversy and he exposes environmental pollution.
There. Yep.
About some things that we can't talk about anymore.
Yep. We're not allowed to say the name that won't be mentioned.
Yep. We've barred David from saying a word.
2 words.
Two words.
Maybe hyphenated?
Because he talks about it so much and he never stops. So if he says it, we get to electrocute him with cattle prods we have here in the studio.
Is that prod working? You tested it out yet?
Let's do a test.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Oh, that looks like it works. Wow, his hair's standing straight up on end.
What's great about I could go on about Chico forever. Chico is the most amazing person ever. We're so lucky to have and then Chico, and then David.
He's the engineer that runs the show.
Engineer runs everything, produces everything, runs camps for kids, shoots things, records things, edits things, is always doing and helping, plays the drums, plays several instruments. And then we have an amazing editor, David, that lives in Massachusetts, that edits this up. So you don't have to worry about live podcasts. I can't believe what Joe Rogan does. Suddenly there's silence and you have to keep filling it. You can just go silent, dead air right now for 5 minutes. Doesn't matter. It's just going to be cut out. There's no fear of if it's not interesting, it's not going to be in the show. So you can take your time. It's it's the only way I would ever want to record, rather than this let's keep it moving. There's got to be long sections. If you listen to Joe Rogan, Bob, aren't there long sections for 20, 30 minutes that could just be cut out of a whole 2, 3, 4 hour thing?
Yeah, plenty. I guess there's not silent. It depends on the person who's listening, I suppose, what they would cut out.
It's amazing that they're recording for that long and just all live. I would love to be able to cut stuff out. Like right now, none of this is going to be in it.
Cut this all out.
I know. We're not in a space where they're going to leave this in.
There's the breathing part, too. There's 4 microphones set up in the studio right now, and only one person usually speaks at a time. But then the others, if you're as close to the mic as we want you to be, then we pick up your breathing. So then you got to edit that out unless you want to have this breathing, this slightly subtle breathing effect kind of underlying everything.
So you should say when you're not talking, you should be away from the mic.
You probably want to be off your mic a little bit. Otherwise, you're going to be, you'll hear someone clearly, but then behind everything will be, little breaths. It won't be clear, pristine audio, which is what we're always going for.
And a cough button. Do we have a cough button?
A button that it coughs when you press it?
That'd be great. That'd be better. Let's do that instead of the cough button. Yeah, let's just have that for fun. That's how we fill That's how we'll fill the empty space.
We should have the best audio. We'll have the best my brother's a sound engineer expert. We should have the best audio in podcasting. That should be our goal.
Always aim for perfection.
Dave, your face is priceless. Should we do a David Vincelette? So our show, we're back. We're in an undisclosed location because people want the show to end because people are talking about real issues and important issues. It's straight talk, real talk, and people want to shut it down. And so, Dave, let's have a check-in with you. What are the updates on the battle against the town of Hanover?
Well, I'm still being silenced, if that makes any difference, but
we cut his mic.
Sorry?
Yeah. Should we cut your mic?
Yeah.
Just wondering.
Yeah.
That'd be appropriate.
It may happen anyway, but
to fill people up real quick, you've been on a 30-year battle against the town for polluting the brook and the Dartmouth College, and then they put a fence up across your driveway.
Held us in a concentration camp for 2 years.
He loves saying that. Dave and I have a long-standing argument. I keep telling Dave, you can't go to every town meeting in Hanover, New Hampshire, and look at people with a straight face and tell them you are being held in a concentration camp. It's offensive to the Holocaust and the Jews that were killed in
My
concentration
wife
camps.
is a Jew.
They put
We were held there for 2 years. It's a fact. She shouldn't have been abused like that. Now we have 3.
I agree that a flimsy 6-foot fence was put up around your property.
It blocked our driveway.
But
We couldn't get in and out. I couldn't get medical
Dave,
treatment.
it wasn't the same thing as Auschwitz. The
No.
comparison is ridiculous, and I think it
But I
hurts
did
your
fall and break
overall
my-
argument and cause.
I never
People go,
said
this
we
guy's
were-
insane. He's saying he's in a concentration camp in Hanover, New Hampshire.
Our basic liberty is that we can come and go as we please. That's enshrined in our Constitution. If the government is allowed to put a fence around you and hold you so that you can't drive a car in and out of your property, that's a violation of our civil rights. You may think it's not a big deal, but it led to our power being turned off, our water being turned off. We had minimal food and heat available to us because our driveway was closed. We couldn't get medical supplies or treatment.
And did they finally correct course?
Finally, I went to a judge, and the judge had us freed, but the town still has not admitted what they've done or apologized for it or tried to make amends. So I'm still on the warpath with them.
Warpath.
Yep.
I agree with you. That's they shouldn't have put a fence up across your property.
No.
But concentration camp, you're really committed to that phrase.
Concentration. What does concentration mean? It means a concentration. What is concentrated in a concentration camp? People, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what happened.
I agree.
We had a concentration of people, low-income people, disabled people, veterans. My wife, Ukrainian Jew. My daughters couldn't visit us. You don't think we were going through mental trouble? You're mistaken. We had a fellow ran into us yesterday, Nate. He actually was there the day that they came and arrested me and put me in jail while they started taking all my stuff. And
what's amazing is that that's true.
yeah,
So many things have happened to you that are completely incredible. Like you actually were arrested, driven off, put in jail for days. They came to your property with 20 giant
took all my
dump trucks,
tools and
Bulldozed another house.
smashed your homeless shelter
Yeah,
down to the
smashed the
ground,
homeless
left
shelter.
broken glass everywhere. Just
Yeah.
like
total violation of our Fourth Amendment rights, illegal search and seizure. But nobody did anything about it. The police and the
Dave,
FBI still hasn't shown up.
Dave, I did something about it, Dave.
That's true. You went and spoke at least at. You're the only one who spoke at the
And
town
I also
select
went
board.
and took my gold coins to a pawn shop.
Oh, that's right. Gave us some
and sold
money
them
for electricity.
$3,900
Yeah.
so I could go pay your property taxes, which I paid.
So they didn't take my house?
So that we could still have a right to.
Man. I've been on the edge of
I
having that
flushed
house.
half my life savings down to Shantytown.
You're a good man. and it didn't make a dent, did it?
No, we still lost it anyway.
It's been a
Dave's the only
battle.
person that can say that he's had multiple. His story's amazing. A long time ago, they dumped asphalt waste. Parking lot.
We're not supposed to say that. we had an agreement.
I'm allowed to say it.
The town of Hanover would like it if the podcast did not contain the words asphalt or waste. We want to move past that. We don't want to think about it. We don't want to talk about it.
We'll call it parking lot. The town was dumping their parking lots into the brook.
That's better.
That's what they're doing. And
Yeah,
Dave got
that's-
upset about it, and then he complained about it, and then he stopped paying his property taxes
Because they were polluting my water.
because they're polluting his water. And then he came back, and they had bulldozed his house down to the ground, and then it was gone. Do you imagine just the amazement of that sight? Like you come back,
They
let me
wanted
go
to
back to my
surprise
place.
me. They didn't want me to be able to battle them from taking it down, so they had gone
If you
a
don't
week
pay,
early with
Yeah.
bulldozers and torn down my house and taken all my private uniforms and all kinds of stuff that I had stored up in the house.
Were you still in jail at this time?
No.
You were out.
no,
You just didn't know
this
about
was
it.
before that I was put in jail.
Well, they also bulldozed Etna, wasn't that around the same
Yeah,
time?
they bulldozed the little
Three
timber
houses.
frame in Etna too.
Yeah, beautiful.
oh, you're right. They've done it's now. The town of Hanover's bulldozed three of
Three
your
of my property. They
houses.
followed me
That's
around.
incredible.
On the plus side, they're amazingly efficient.
Yeah. Yeah, they have been. And then now they're all crying about there's no place for the homeless and for low-income people. Meanwhile, all the properties I had were low-income rentals.
That is true, and I didn't want to say that. Yeah, that's true. There's a huge problem in our community in New Hampshire and Vermont. There's just no housing. They need there's just so many people. No one can find a home. And meanwhile, the unofficial homeless shelter that Dave ran for 40 years, they bulldozed that to the ground because
they could.
Well, yeah, you can pay, because if you don't pay your property taxes for 3 years, your town takes ownership of your land.
Yes, but you have 3 years to redeem the taxes. You have 3 years to buy the property back. So why would they tear down the buildings?
Yeah, well, they say, well, we now own it, and this building isn't inspected. This building isn't.
They didn't say anything. They just took it down.
Oh, we own the land now, and now that we own it, this isn't unsafe, so we'll smash it all to the ground.
It seemed like a hasty decision to make.
It seems like when I was paying taxes on a $100,000 building that they would suddenly say it was worthless. Why were they charging me so much taxes if it was a worthless building? I don't understand. They want it both ways.
It's too bad it couldn't have unfolded in a more peaceful fashion.
Well, luckily we were very peaceful about it, but
Dave, do you imagine that every month you go to a select board hearing, these 6 people that run the town, and now that you go there, you've been going there for years and years and years, and you've spoken hundreds and hundreds of times. They don't answer any of your questions.
No.
They've been instructed not to respond to anything. They just say next issue, and they now have and pay a police officer to stand in the meeting.
And they've allowed the town manager not to
and they told him to arrest Dave if
questions.
he talks for more than 5 minutes.
and you how many times
they find him? He talked for 10 minutes, and they fined him $600 because he talked for 2 minutes.
Really?
Yeah,
David, how many?
Chains.
They fined you for talking over your thing? Like it's the NFL press conference or something.
Not only have they fined him, that
they arrested him.
They've full on arrested him and taken him out in handcuffs. So how many times?
3 times.
3 times.
3 times. In the town is arresting him. He's often the only person who comes to the meeting
and
to talk.
other people have been allowed to speak, including Ryan Clausen has been allowed to speak longer than 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah. So Dave goes over all the videos, and he starts watching videos. He starts seeing all these people talk for way over 5 minutes, way over 10 minutes, see all these examples of people going on.
But are those people criticizing the town of Hanover?
That's the thing. They're not criticizing the town.
If I was on that board, I'm going to put a time limit on how long I'm going to listen to someone criticize
That's what they did.
me.
That's exactly what they did. But
Human
it's
nature.
illegal. Of course it's human nature, but...
So we've always wanted to make a compilation of all his talks over like the 2 decades, 3 decades and just take those high moments because he hits them so hard, with his whole thing.
Yeah,
and it's like, okay,
I feel bad for
them.
them.
And then the head guy's always like, and we're not going to respond to that. And moving on to Fortnite. Parking meter, should they be on the southwest? It's just like they spend no time. They have deleted them from
discussion.
the town manager. Dave talks openly about the town manager won't return my calls and he won't have a meeting with me. The town manager is just sitting 10 feet away from Dave the whole time, just like on a computer, never looks at him. There's no reference. This is every meeting this goes on.
Yeah.
At some point, it's like someone's just sitting and go, what are we doing in this? What is going on in this room? Hey, town manager, can you look over here once? Can you guys just talk? This guy's been complaining and arguing for decades.
Maybe they feel like there's nothing they can do that's going to satisfy this guy.
Yeah, that's what they came to that. They came to that a while ago, and they said
every time he asks a question, if we answer it, he just has 2.
Yeah.
I'm like, well,
what would satisfy you?
I would say
good question.
At least starting to answer some questions would satisfy me some. As opposed to not answering any questions for years and years and years. It seems like at some point you have to begin answering questions, and then if it turns out that there's too many questions, you make a decision. But you can't just use that as your go-to. Oh, we can't let him answer. We can't answer any questions.
I think if the town manager, knowing Dave, if the town manager said, hey, Dave, let's have lunch. Then let's do it like every couple months. And just sit down and listen to Dave like an hour and a half. And just listen to him and like actually just entered into real conversation ongoing. And what can we do to make things? I think Dave would feel that he was totally.
You think that would be better than us 4 getting him here on Screaming in the Darkness?
Yeah.
And cornering him with all these questions for 2 hours? We'll have Chico lock the door behind him. And we use that new ball gag microphone I was talking about. just strap it to his face. We just start asking him questions.
Half the
demanding
joke
answers.
of this whole show is that we incessantly go on about David Vincelette and his issues that we've been talking about for 10 years.
10 years.
That no one cared about then, and
no
they
one
don't care
cares
about now. And it's like it's a beating a dead
only
horse.
one.
It's like, is this? Are we?
But I care enough for everybody, so
I
it
do too,
works
and
out.
I believe in you, Dave, and I believe in the water because I swim in Mink Brooks. Now that I
Yeah.
really swim in it, now I'm like, man, once you start using the water and swimming in it, you care when it's polluted.
Of course
way
you
more.
should. You and Sean both swim in there, and Bobby today. All three
What are they
of you.
putting in the brook? Fluoride?
Can't talk about it.
We can't mention what it is.
Oh.
Apparently.
Oh, fluoride's in the tap water, not in the
water.
brook.
Oh, yeah, you got to give us an update on.
Gotcha.
You got to give us the
That's
best
the poison
update of all the
that's the
podcasts
poison
you've been
they're
listening
putting
to.
in the tap
Bob
water.
listens to a lot of podcasts, and he pulls, their nuggets out of them. That's what our
Nuggets
podcast.
of fluoride.
Nuggets of good information. But he just listens to the Joe Rogan several-hour podcast with some.
Yep. How do you get that on Spotify or what?
Yeah, Spotify.
Spotify.
This podcast
Is that like an app or is it
Yeah,
a
you
membership?
Spotify.
No, I think
For
I pay
$14.99.
like $10 a month.
You can have a
I don't get
Spotify premium
ads, but you
membership.
can listen. And I'm pretty sure if you don't pay the membership, you just don't. You
Just
get
have ads.
advertisements. I
Yeah.
think.
Huh.
Right?
Yeah, I think that's how it works.
You got to be careful. You got to be careful when you get that family plan going, because guess what? Update, you guys. You want to get a Spotify family premium plan. I got my mom is on her credit card.
Yeah.
That's how I get my music. My mom pays for it.
Yeah.
But not
Crazy.
just you, right? You're the family plan includes other members.
Family member. You got up to 5 members you can put on this family plan.
Wow.
Here's the thing you need to be aware of, Dave. When you add someone to your family plan, it emails everyone on the family plan and tells them this person was just added to the family plan.
Who did that?
So say
mess
you
up?
know like several pretty women, you want to get them all on your
I don't.
backfire real
Just
fast.
relatives.
Who's Deborah? You
Not
know?
a problem. Not a problem.
Brad,
Any of
who's
us-
Deborah? I never knew there's a Deborah on our family plan. I didn't know who Deborah was. Margaret, what is she doing on the family plan? All of a sudden you start getting all these questions. Just to if it comes up in your life, now you know. Be careful who you add to your family plan.
Don't just let attractive women be on the family plan,
Yeah.
because then they're all going to find out a bit about each other and then blame you for being attracted to more than one person at one time.
I met an attractive woman in Hawaii years ago. She was cool, and I'll put you in the family plan. We just started. We have all 5 open members, sure. And now she's on. She's been getting free Spotify
For
for
years.
5 years off of my mom.
Huh.
Have we gotten thank you in the last 5 years? No. Any acknowledgement? No, because that's something they forget about it. But it's every month you're getting free music, and I wonder, did I waste did I kind of threw out one of my family
Well, if you're the administrator,
Access.
are you allowed to throw them off?
Yeah, I could always just delete them and add someone new, but
Get rid of them. Let's clear some space.
they're a nice person, good
Do you think
person.
there should be a criminal penalty for being on multiple family plans at once?
Can you do
Like if
that?
a woman's on like 10 different people's family plans because she just keeps forgetting or whatever, she's collecting family plan points. These are the ways we maybe should monitor the internet scene,
There's people I want to be on as many family plans as possible.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. There's people with the same phone plan. One of them's paying $110 a month, and the other one said, "I'm going to get the biggest family plan there is, get all those members, get on that plan." They're paying like $30 a month. It's a big difference.
Why was it so much less?
Because if you maximize, if you really want to save money, you got to go with that family plan.
Oh yeah.
You can tell a lot about yourself if you're on a family plan. Bob, you on a family plan?
No.
You pay for your own subscriptions to Spotify?
Spotify, yeah.
Wow. You pay for your own subscription, so we
Yeah.
could delete one person and add you to a free Spotify and save you
$10 a month, I think, is whatever. Yeah, something like that.
$120 a year.
It's cheaper than cable by a lot.
Our cable bill, my mom gets some Comcast bill.
$200 or something.
What is going on? What is this bill? What are people paying this cable bill? It seems outrageous. Yes.
And you would think it would be cheaper when it went to like YouTube TV or whatever, but those are just expensive. I think those things are very expensive. Like the new internet TV that's just replacing cable. You can basically watch cable on YouTube TV now. It's basically cable television, but it's just, through YouTube instead of a cable line.
Yeah.
But it's very expensive, $100-something a month, $130 a month or something like that, yeah.
Wonder why it's so expensive. Cable bills used to be way less expensive. Why are they more expensive? Right?
Well, your mom probably has internet too with the
All
cable.
you need is internet.
Yeah, that's true.
Get internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all we have.
And internet should be free. They're making planes so they can fly. They can have free internet all over the world. Free internet in Africa.
Is that like Elon Musk's thing that
Zuckerberg?
Zuckerberg.
Bob and I's classmate from high school. He's giving the internet to the world.
No, Elon.
Is that what Elon's
Starlink.
doing?
Starlink.
Yeah.
That's Elon's thing.
Internet for the whole world.
Yeah. Now there's satellites you can see up in the sky, like
I've seen them.
nighttime. Yeah, all the time. Yeah.
He's giving internet. He's giving internet to the world. Dave, your gift to the world is
Quiet, not saying a certain word. That's my gift.
Bob, your gift to the world?
Gift to the world.
Isn't it
I
obvious?
don't know if I've thought.
The being of yourself. You're the gift.
That's all we can all give, I suppose, till we find something better.
We're all willing to believe in ourselves until something better comes along. And I'm just here to make sure that David doesn't say the hyphenated, the two words. That there might be a hyphen between them. I don't know, but I just sit here and make sure he doesn't say that, because I'm here. I was born and bred in Hanover. I believe in Hanover, all things Hanover. Mr. Hanover. And if it's not good enough for the town council to hear it at meeting, then it's not good enough to appear on this podcast. So I'm here to make sure.
Well, they haven't. That's one of the interesting things about the whole select board is the 5 minutes they allow you to speak are turned over to a paid administrator who makes the minutes to decide what was important in what you said. But they have a different level of concern on the public's comment portion than on the regular meeting. So I've been going to these meetings and saying the same thing many times, that there was a concentration camp, that there were religious and racial minorities being abused and all this. None of it makes it into the minutes. It's all censored. So instead of saying David said this and that, they say David went over some things that he's mentioned to the town before. And it never even says what I'm saying. It's totally censored. So there's another violation of my First Amendment rights.
Is it a question for David? Is there any upside to the oppression?
Oppression leads to madness. So I guess I'm about half mad now. And I was asking my therapist about it. I said, sir, how long am I supposed to put up with being treated as a second-class citizen? Does it eventually wear you down to the point where you give up? And he said, it's a possibility. I said, well, it's not going to do that to me. I've got 5 weeks now to file a lawsuit and end this horror show. It won't end it. It'll still be going on, but at least it'll be.
You've had 5 weeks to set
5 weeks
to submit a lawsuit for 10 years.
Well,
this
it's 5
story's
years.
so great. I love it.
There's a 5-year statute of limitation on the federal crimes 13 town officials were involved in. So I got 5 weeks to get their names all down on a piece of paper. I've got the basic brief made out. Now I just have to get it submitted to the court. And then it'll be at least.
You're federally suing the town of Hanover?
Yeah.
How much? For how much?
Federal court. I don't know how much. I don't know how much they have. But I'm
$43 million a year budget.
Yeah. I was thinking about including the hospital too and taking the number up some. But all of them participated in this dumping of material that will not be mentioned.
All right, we'll allow that. We will allow that.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So
The older I get, the more I fall in love with Dave. The more I appreciate what he does. You have to have a zero tolerance. It's the broken window effect. If you have a little bit of litter, then you have a lot of litter, and then you have even more, and then before you know it, there's litter everywhere. A long time ago, the town of Hanover and Dartmouth started dumping, pollution into the brook, and you're the only person that said, "Hey, this is wrong. It should stop." I'm not.
Yeah.
This is wrong and stop. And no one else is saying it. You are. That's because you have to have a zero. You can't be like, all right, yeah, you can dump that. Because before you know it, it's like, we just dump stuff in the brook. We just dump stuff. We don't know what to do with it. We just dump it in the brook.
It just seems that there's a long lag between when pollution is introduced to when they're going to do anything about it. I was just reading in the paper today, fluorescent light bulbs will now be illegal starting. But Jesus, they've been around forever, and I guess it took until 2023 for someone at least to have it go into a law, or it's going to be 2024 by the time it does, that, there's mercury in here, and mercury's not good for to be loose in the environment.
Are the LEDs? Those aren't fluorescent, are they?
No, then the twice as energy. There was some controversy about cause they were trying to say that the fluorescents, couldn't be replaced because they're so efficient.
Yeah.
But the truth is, LEDs are twice as efficient, and apparently the LEDs don't have mercury in them. But
will they fit in
fluorescents-
the same fixture? Like, what do people do if you have a fixture for the old type fluorescent bulbs and
Good
suddenly?
question.
Yeah, I think you're going
At
to have
my
to.
woodworking
I know.
shop, I have all fluorescent bulbs, so I either have to go out and buy a bunch before they stop selling them, or else I'm going to have to buy all new fixtures to.
Or maybe they make LED bulbs that fit those.
Maybe they do.
exact same.
I have to find out. Do some.
Some people would say just take all those bulbs and throw them in Mink Brook. What the heck? And let it wash down the.
Somebody might
kids.
say that. I wouldn't say that.
Oh.
But
I picked up a giant bag of litter. I have now a zero tolerance policy on litter on my street on a road. I said I'm just not gonna allow anything. I'm gonna pick it up constantly. 50% of people apparently litter, and only 14% of people ever pick up litter.
yeah,
So you're never. It's like what? And then
never picked up.
I'm part of the percentage that looks at the litter, sees it, realizes it's not good, but I keep walking. I don't pick it up.
And that's why I'm like, what's the solution here? You need to somehow make it sexy and fun to pick up litter. That's the only way you're going to solve this problem.
Well, because obviously it's already so sexy and fun to create litter.
Yeah.
Like on our street, there's some guy or some girl who they have a field day with Dr.
McGillicuddy's.
and they just throwing them out willy-nilly. Ryan finds one or two every time he goes out.
We're
What
looking
is
for
that?
you.
A beer or what is that?
Schnapps? What is it?
Menthol
Schnapps.
liqueur
Oh.
type thing. We're looking for. I'm gonna personally. I have a long-term goal of finding out who this person is.
We were thinking do we know
'Cause I'm
anyone?
talking about dozens and dozens and dozens of these huge bottles. Sometimes
Huh.
plastic, sometimes glass.
They keep coming.
All along the road, they just keep coming.
Do we know anyone in the police department who's got a fingerprinting kit? We were thinking of maybe
Oh, that's a
dusting
good
the
idea.
bottle, peeling the print off, and then printing the print onto our
Yeah.
T-shirt that we'll then wear. And then when we're in large groups, we'll fingerprint people and compare, their
Track
fingerprints.
down the person.
We'll find that
Because I'd
person.
love to know, who are these people that go down this street and throw their trash out the window, in large amounts of it, large amounts just still going on. I think people have Israel, Palestine,
Probably teenagers.
Ukraine war, and I'm like, no, slow way down. We have litter right here, trash. We got to go right there. That's the problem.
Concern about your locale.
Clean up your own. You have people just driving along your street, throwing their trash out their
A
window.
lot of plastic. It is very close to Mink Brook.
Well, now with the way the landfills are, it's gotten so expensive to throw stuff out that people just throw stuff out instead of collecting it and taking it to the dump. They're just throwing it out.
And here's the first thing I'm starting to see. I've never seen. When litter's always unhealthy. It's always trash, cigarettes, beer, always. You never see a bag of romaine lettuce on the side of the road, soy milk, almond butter. But now, for the first time, I started seeing
No
bags of
peas
French.
fries.
I saw a baguette bag. I saw yogurt containers. So it's like either the people are just getting slightly healthier, or people who are healthy are seeing the trash and going, oh, I can do that too. But where you live, get the gloves you love to pick up litter with. Keep them in your bag. Keep a trash bag in your bag. Have theme music on if you want, but become a litter superhero.
Yep.
Like I pretend I'm Batman, and I'm like,
Bagman.
I
that's it.
feel like I can't really be bothered because once you get into that, it's just going to consume your whole life. There's so much of it in the stream. It'll always come back. So why even bother?
You got to just pick a small space, and you say, I'm gonna maintain this area. I can't do the whole country. My brother's trying to clean up the entire city. My brother down south lives in Jacksonville, Florida. He's trying to clean up the entire city of Jacksonville, Florida.
Huh.
He's trying to pick up all the litter in the city.
How's he doing that?
He's nonstop picking up litter for hours, just picking.
People continue to litter, though, yeah?
I know, and they're not going to stop. So we're going to need to spread that. But once you get enough people picking up, it's just gone. There's so many people picking up litter. There's so many superheroes that, boom, boom, boom. We just dominate those litterers.
And let them litter?
Yes, they're not going to stop, and we don't need them to stop. We just need a shit ton of superheroes that have trash bags in their bag and are ready to rock. If you just increase that number, it's just always picked up.
But it also
That's my only thought. I don't think they're going to stop.
well, we should just imagine.
Could be wrong.
If you're on the other end, just imagine how much fun it must be. You're just driving along. You just ate some food. You got all this stuff in your car. It must be kind of feel good, right? I mean, not that has anyone here Bob or David, we obviously haven't littered, but you guys have probably littered, right? Did it feel good when you were in your car and you just roll down the window and go, problem solved, throw it right out?
Throw an apple core out or something, yeah, but not litter.
They love their car that much.
I never really threw trash out a window, except we used to drive around town and pick trash bags up out of the trash barrels during trash day, and then drive like 40 miles an hour and then throw the whole bag out. But
Jesus.
Then like someone would just pick that bag up.
I can't. That is the worst litter story. You
Yeah,
littered with entire.
We were like, you know,
worse. Yeah.
You threw entire trash bags of litter out your window.
we were probably more engaging in like. The problem was probably more like vandalism or endangering the public than
With flying bags.
I mean, it was. I mean. If the bag smashed open, I suppose it could become like a littering mess.
You picked
but
up.
we weren't trying to litter. We were just like,
okay. Well, this is
we're
perfect.
engaging in a different unhealthy activity than littering.
But this is perfect. Yeah, unhealthy. But I'm saying at the time when you guys were doing it, can you kind of describe to us how much fun was it?
This was fun. Yeah,
That must have been. You take a whole bag of trash.
like it would be a fun activity to allow people to do at the dump, or maybe it's an encouraging way to have people pick up litter if they're allowed to do this after. Like if you give them a fast car to drive after at a place where they're allowed to like throw it out the window
Nothing's
after.
more fun than throwing the glass
That's
bottles.
not a bad idea. Have people. It could be very freeing especially for people who don't litter. Have them experience the joy of littering.
That's a good idea. At the dump, they could have a special lane. We just drive through and throw your bags. Yeah.
Everyone likes that glass, because you can throw your glasses in. You love your big thing of glass.
It's just fun to throw things, let alone from a moving vehicle. I remember we used to take vacations, and whenever we went through the toll booth, the people on the other side of the car, you'd always try to throw a penny, with your right hand over the, outside, out the window, over the car, and into the basket.
Oh, nice.
You'd always miss, of course. We just kept on driving. Let someone else clean up that. Not our problem.
So the litterers are not. So maybe it'd be nice if they're taking that. Like that's what's bringing them to do it. They love the joy of throwing something out of the car. It's not so much. That's it.
It does feel good. I do the apple thing too, like apple cores, banana peels, orange
That's
peels.
not litter. That's not litter.
I chuck it right out. But you're throwing something out of a moving vehicle.
Yeah, it is fun.
There's something fun about that. I couldn't even imagine how much more fun it would be if it was like a bunch of garbage or a piece of, a glass bottle. You'd probably, it'd be really fun, right?
No.
Yeah, like trying to hit targets,
no.
trying to hit
Anyone
targets or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. You gotta.
Yeah, when I was a kid, we had down by a brook. We had a place where the tavern let out and had all their bottles, and we would set them up on the rocks by the brook and just throw rocks for hours at bottles. Oh, what fun we had! Holy cow! But what a mess we made.
Yeah, we can be menaces when we're kids.
Okay, well, it's unfortunate, but breaking things, especially glasses, because you get that. It's just fun for some reason.
Yeah.
Explodes.
Don't they have that, like smash a car, stress relief rooms and stuff? They do have that.
Oh, yeah, true. But usually there's not a whole bunch of glass in those rooms, is there?
I think there's the car windows and stuff, but
Do they use cars for that? Is here the
I
base?
think usually they put like TVs and cars and stuff into a room and let people go in with a bat. And
Broken glass is the worst. I would have harsh penalties for people who break glass in nature and leave glass, break glass. That'd be jail time if you break any glass.
But glass isn't the worst pollutant, though, right? It's not plastic.
No,
it's
but in
not.
a way it is because it becomes so dangerous.
Oh, you mean like you could cut yourself?
Yeah, sure. Like I walk in the brook, I find broken glass in the brook sometimes. It's like how did this get here? Were people just drinking and I think they just smashed their bottles?
McGillicuddy?
McGillicuddy, yeah. So how much pleasure does he have? Nice if that him or her has a lot of. What if they cackle to themselves as they throw it out?
But they don't get the pleasure of hearing it break behind them, as they're driving because they always seem to be intact.
Yeah,
right.
Most of them are plastic.
Oh, they are plastic.
I've found some glass ones.
Huh.
But none of them have ever been broken.
We need to set up an experiment. They could be walking. But I think
Not a lot of walkers on this rural road in New Hampshire.
We need to get someone who'll do it and describe it to us as it's happening. Have them drink some McGillicuddy, get to the bottom, and then we're going to scientifically observe you as you walk along and then all of a sudden throw it and get rid of it.
Imagine when we finally find out who it is and I have all of their like 150 McGillicuddies. I wonder what they'll feel about that. If I go, hey, I collected all of these are 150s are all yours. You've been throwing these for years. I wonder if if they would care at all, they'd be like, I don't care. Or if they'd be like, oh my God, this is a drastic thing in my life. I didn't realize I've been drinking that many McGillicuddies, and now that they're all here and all in my face, I'll never litter again.
The past has come back.
Which side of the road are they on?
Always the
Passenger seat.
Passenger side. Yeah, going away from my house.
Your side?
Yeah. Never, ever found one on the other side of the road.
Because it's more enjoyable to throw it out. Whenever I'm throwing stuff, I always like to roll down the passenger window and throw it out that way. I don't know why. I guess because you don't want to aim for it. You have oncoming
I guess
traffic
you could be
the other way.
driver's side, but just head in the other direction.
Head in the other direction. That's
Then
true.
you'd probably find glass one smashed on the road, but maybe not. If he reaches the.
They're all along the road, and because there's a big, huge opening area, but they throw them right in the woods before the meadow or right in the woods after the meadow. That's generally where you find them. These two different locations right on either side of a meadow. Yeah, I'm gonna go full into it. I want to become an undercover police officer and just specialize in litter. Like that's what I want to present to the police department. It's not that hard to become a cop. 2.5 months of training, and say, look, I'm here, special unit. I want cameras, and I want to take litter down to 0. Harsh penalties, and if you litter,
100 years.
that's what I want to do. It's like, Trump just gave a rally. He was just here in Claremont, New Hampshire, and he said we should kill people who drug dealers should be murdered.
Yeah.
Start with litterers. Kill them first. Those are, if that's the way you are, just get.
That would probably solve the problem.
That would slow it down severely.
But also kill drugs. So as soon as I heard it, because I have one friend who loves Trump. He goes, I was at the thing. It's great, and I saw it. I'm like, this guy stood around for 2 hours and was like, yeah, we should kill, drug dealers. And I know it's harsh, but that's what we should do. Kill them.
Yeah.
I'm like, what about the freaking all the pharmaceutical drugs that people are put on?
Yeah.
That are killing millions of people, right?
That's okay, but
right.
Well,
This is our current events section. We're going to get into politics and the war and all that stuff.
Good.
Yeah.
Start with the litterers.
I'm saying people think I'm joking around here, but start with an issue that's right in front of you that everyone's ignoring. It's kind of small. No, it's not small. You can't just take your trash. It's like there's a problem here.
Well, yeah, the problem's so much larger, though. I think people have given up because, there's so much pollution now. I can't even imagine being a young person growing up in this day and age because it's such a desperate, horrible vision where you lose your faith in humanity because everything's polluted now. And
that's true. Microplastics.
Microplastics, exactly. They did research. They've proven now that they're in the clouds. Even the clouds are polluted. So it's like you can't even save the water anymore because all the water is the clouds. So it's just like it's a losing battle. People know it. They're hopeless.
You go into the store and everything's covered with 2 or 3 layers of plastic. Everything you buy comes in a plastic container. It's just a matter of where do you think it's going to go? It's going to go in a landfill somewhere if it makes it there. I mean, it's kind of a hopeless situation when the manufacturers don't even try to make recyclable products.
Where's this stuff come from? Like, what's the entire cycle? We can walk through the entire cycle. And all this stuff just coming from the earth and going back to the earth on a bigger...
True. On a slower time scale.
True.
Or on a certain time scale that we might find ridiculous, but that's just how long it takes for things to break down sometimes.
But we take what? It's a petroleum product?
Yeah.
Plastic?
Mm-hmm.
Petroleum and what? Silicone or something? Not really silicone, but like how plastic is a...
Plastic is a material consisting of a wide range of synthetic or semi-synthetic organic compounds.
Synthetic organic compounds.
So you instantly cross this line between what's the difference between synthetic and organic? I'm like, the synthetic stuff also come from organic stuff.
I guess everything is organic. It comes from nothing that isn't here can't come from anywhere else.
Right. But then we change it into stuff that doesn't break down.
Plastics are made from natural materials such as cellulose, coal, natural gas, salt, and crude oil.
Doesn't sound so bad.
Okay, so we take
So
this
your
stuff.
point is like everything is natural. So what? It's a good point.
We
right?
take this, well, not necessarily so what. I'm just saying where the conversation can expand to be like, inclusive of the whole thing, like understanding the whole thing. Like, seems kind of maybe there's better understanding to reach there, or the conversation might be different than just, because you're saying keep picking up the plastic, but I'm saying there's more plastic being made. So that's like, I know you say, who cares, let them litter. It's like, but so you're saying for the rest of humanity, we should just be like spending a ton of energy picking up litter and then littering. It's like, that seems prescriptive, rather than, that seems like treating a symptom, doesn't really seem like it's.
Well, if we kill them, though, that's treating the problem, you think?
But but I'm saying the plastic ends up in a landfill and it's still polluting the earth, right? As far as because you start talking about microplastics, it's like the microplastics. Then you're saying that's coming regardless. Once we make the plastics, microplastics are ending up in the environment later. Yep. So until we stop making the plastic, the microplastic, whether or not it's littered into the forest or thrown in the landfill, we're still end up with microplastics in the clouds.
I understand that. My point is, do I want, when I leave my home and drive or walk, when I walk every day down my road, walk for a mile,
see trash on the road?
I want to walk along trash, cigarettes, Pringles cans, booze, glass bottles? Do I want to just have grass and trees?
Right.
And aesthetically.
Right.
What did you decide?
Yeah, I would like to have just the natural stuff. Mm-hmm. It doesn't spark joy in me, the sight of all this. Not that I'm like, it looks terrible either. I just think, and it's true, it's only a couple miles away. We have a giant stinking dump where all the plastic gets smashed and everything's huge piles of trash. But it's like,
and it is. We do have a.
Well, just put it there then. There's already one giant, huge, stinking.
I also went to. I was recently in Disney.
Along your road.
When I went to Disney, I was noticing how little litter there is, and then I started noticing how many trash barrels, and I was astounded by how many trash barrels there were when I started looking for them. They were hidden, blended in, but if you started looking, you notice there's a trash barrel. You're never looking for a trash barrel ever. When you have trash in your hand, you turn, there's a trash barrel right there. It's like you need to walk 100 yards. So because you're finding most of that litter on a trail that we walked on today. It's basically on a trail system, but there's no trash barrels on the trail. I didn't see any trash barrels on the trail.
Yeah, we're saying you're finding litter along the road, not really in the woods.
You're saying
but that road is like, you're also finding it like at the entrance to a trail system.
I found a little bit today.
You're finding that like we're assuming people are throwing it out of a car, but it's just as likely someone's walking and dropping it on the.
It's a possibility.
Both, but the vast majority of it is right along the road.
Like if people are throwing it out of the car, it seems very unlikely that they're throwing out of the car at the same place every time. That it seems like almost. That's like it would take kind of like it's almost an autistic behavior. Like someone's like every time trying to throw the same place out of the car every time. It doesn't really make much sense.
It makes some sense because where they throw it, there's no houses, right? There's like a street. You got all these houses, and then you got this one turn, right, with a field. There's no houses, and it's where there's no houses is where most of the litter is found, like along the sides of.
So if you work late at the hospital,
you think somebody that
is driving home at night.
A person like that you're describing, which is the person that's willing to just litter bottles on the street, is also the same person to wait for the right place to litter the bottle every time.
Does seem a form
seems
of mindfulness.
Like if you're going to litter out of a car, it seems like you would just throw it wherever you.
There's so many houses, you'd be throwing it right in front of someone's house, which is so the person. Yeah, the person has enough. So the people who are littering, apparently, because there's 1 mile of road. Greensboro Road is 1 mile long. No, 1.4 miles long.
Yeah.
And the vast 99% of the litter is on a 100-yard football-sized distance of road where there's no houses and a big field and some woods.
It's someone who knows. It's someone who knows it's illegal, right?
Yeah, but I'm saying, take the McGillicuddy's, for instance. Yeah. You're saying there's dozens of McGillicuddy's bottles found in the same spot.
Right.
That's a large bottle of McGillicuddy's I saw you pick up today. It's not being drunk in a half-hour sitting. It's being drunk over a few days or maybe a day.
Hard to believe you finish the bottle each time right at that time.
Yeah. I mean, they're driving all around town. Whenever they have an empty bottle of McGillicuddy's, they get rid of it. They're not waiting and collecting it to throw it back to try to create a collection at the one spot on the town road that they're looking to.
So
it's more likely to me that someone's walking over there drinking bottles of McGillicuddy's and then throwing them on the ground. I mean, that seems more likely to me than
interesting.
In which case, if there was a barrel right there, they'd probably throw it in the barrel. I mean,
you know what? That would be an interesting experiment.
We should make a freaking McGillicuddy's.
Have a barrel with a big Dr. McGillicuddy's with an arrow pointing in it.
Yeah.
And see if it solves the problem.
And other trash and cans, for all the people to see how much we can collect.
I mean, if you just put a barrel in that spot, I'd be curious if you start finding McGillicuddy's bottles in the barrel. It's a good little experiment that you might find that. I mean, again, like at Disney, I realized how many barrels there were, and it dawned on me, people are just that little bit just lazy enough where, if they need to carry the bottle for an extra hour, they'll just throw it on the ground. But it's not that they are looking to litter this spot.
Your solution is there's more trash cans.
Make it easy on them to,
Make it easy.
You could also have really large trash cans that you could try to throw things into from a moving vehicle. Make it like 5 times bigger with like a bullseye.
Yeah. I think the hypothesis about the moving vehicle is very it's not quite the best police work, Mr. Litter Lieutenant
I
Litter.
thought maybe it's someone
Lieutenant
after
Litterbug.
work who's like drinking, who's hiding their drinking problem.
And there's not that many people.
And they know this. They work here, and so they drive here every time, and this is their part of their schedule. I'm going to drink a bottle, and then I'm going to throw it out here before I get home.
Yeah. It's possible. If it was nips, I think the hypothesis would mean a little. If you were finding nips strewn across the street, maybe, but those are like a large bottle of McGillicuddy's. It's like
so maybe
it has to take quite a routine to finish. It's quite a disciplined alcoholic. It's like, he drinks half the bottle of the way this way on the road, another quarter by the corner, another quarter by there, so he can throw away the
very organized.
We're not talking about. We're talking about 50 bottles of big McGillicuddy's.
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe he's a professional litterer. He's not like some half, some fly by the seat of your pants amateur.
Yeah.
He's a professional. He takes pride.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? Possible.
There's often one sip left. There's often a little bit of McGillicuddy's left in the bottle.
You ever try it?
Which means he doesn't get that. When he's at his spot, it's gone, He's like, he's not going to, when it's close, it's like he's not.
They're in the same spot every time?
They're either before the meadow or they're after the meadow along the woods on the right part of the road before you get to
there's a big bend in the road, so no one can really see what you're doing. You had a big bend in the road with forests on both sides.
Yeah, no, I have a much easier time picturing someone walking in those trail system drinking a bottle of McGillicuddy's, which is if you find inconspicuous trail systems in towns, you often find the same bottles of liquor there all the time because people go there to drink. That's where they go there to drink.
Could be. Because we walk around there so often. You think we'd see a few suspects.
Yeah, and here's the thing with the trail system. There is no there's after the bend in the road, there's just woods there. Like that's a road. There's no real.
Yeah, that's a good point.
He's walking on the road. He's not walking on the trails.
Could be walking on the road too, yeah.
But, and also that's like the worst place to walk on that road. All of Greensboro Road is the one point where you're the most conscious that the car is coming and going, can't see you. It's a kind of a blind turn.
Tough place to throw. If you were driving, tough to throw out a bottle then too, right in your turn.
But that's what I would throw it. I would throw it there because there's no houses or anything. No one's going to see you, and you're not going to hit. You're not like throwing it on someone's lawn, which would be the case almost anywhere else on the street. You'd be actually throwing it into someone's front lawn.
Yeah, you're throwing it into the woods.
Yeah.
And you're also finding the other litter there. In the same vicinity.
The other litter, yes, but it's sort of all kind of along the road a bit. But most of the litter is around the bend. Yeah, there's a bend in the road in the woods. Yeah, same vicinity. There's 100 yards, the football field size of a litter zone. Before that, there's no litter, and after that, there's really no litter. It consists in that zone. In like a minute or less, the solution to Palestine-Israel conflict is more love, more joy, more laughter. More togetherness, more music, just more, same thing with the litter. We need drastically more of these really positive things.
Well, the problem over there is what you need more of what we don't have to give, which is you just don't. At some point, you don't have more land to give people.
Yeah,
it's like There's a limited. That's always seems to be the problem with so much of these horrible, horrible traumas is just the lack of enough land. Too many people. Same in Rwanda. Just too many people living close to each other. It doesn't seem to it can be really well done. Systems can run more efficiently. Cities are super efficient as far as handling human waste and all this stuff. But when it doesn't go well, it can go horribly wrong, and lots of people can get killed really quickly. Huge bloodbath. That's what. And then you just have a bloodbath. You just got to wait for the bloodbath to end, I guess. What are you going to do? It's a bloodbath. You can blame whoever you want.
Yeah, we were commenting on that yesterday. People are like, that are really pro-Israel, really pro-Palestine, but the overwhelming thought we were saying is just of like prayer and empathy for just the loss of life. Like before you get to, there's just there's so much trauma going on. There's so much just love that we need to get into before you get into. Instead of the picking sides, there's now sides, and it's now a war. But love is a powerful thing. I don't think people it's a powerful thing. Togetherness and positivity. That's a thing that you can actually, laughter.
Christmas.
Yeah.
How do you convince people to love and forgive, and when there's been cycles of violence for so long?
By loving them. You learn through experience. You got to love someone so they feel that.
Yeah.
A lot of these terrorists are probably just the most unloved, inside, completely unloved people.
Yeah.
They're just like
filled with hate.
But I'm sure a lot of them have families that, like all families, like they probably have a lot of love. And they just think that what they're doing is in service of their religion, their country, their cause, their people, their family. They're proud of it. They're proud to be able to fight and to be successful, to actually kill your quote unquote enemy. Well, that's the sound we've been looking for.
This is another episode of Screaming in the Darkness.
Ah! Still screaming.
Screaming in the darkness.
Athletic Greens brought to you by
This podcast is brought to you by JAM, Junction Arts and Media, building community in the Upper Valley through media.